guys, I have a really cool special video for you this time. We take a historical context and look at a traditional and epic match between two legends, Masahiko Kimura versus Helio Gracie. Kimura represents Japan, Japan's tradition, judo, jiu-jitsu, traditional jiu-jitsu, what was taught. This dates back all the way to the Kodokan era of judo and jiu-jitsu. And he challenges Helio Gracie. There's a lot of historical context within this match, and I don't have a whole lot of time to kind of explain everything, but to allow you to understand, think of this as a competition. It's a jiu-jitsu judo competition. Both styles will be allowed to be expressed by each individual. Helio Gracie is about 5'9". He is the taller athlete, but of course the lighter athlete. He's somewhere between 140 to 155 pounds. And Kimura is somewhere between 165 to 185 pounds. Some have said that Helio was a lot smaller, but he was smaller, but not by a whole lot. He was actually taller than Kimura. Kimura was stout, though, very stocky for a short man at 5'7", 165 to 185. Came from a traditional judo and jiu-jitsu background, comes from the Kodokan. So I'm going to break down this match for you guys. I hope you guys enjoy this. And then stay tuned after the breakdown of the match so I can kind of give you my thoughts and conclusions of this match. Hope you guys enjoy this. Here we go. Kimura, about 5'7", weighing around 165 to 185. Helio Gracie, 5'9", weighing anywhere between 145 and 160. So a little bit outweighed. They meet in the middle, and you could already see the difference in stance by Kimura, much more confident in his judo. Helio Gracie a little bit more cautious because he doesn't do a lot of stand-up. Immediately throws Osotogari from Kimura. Immediately passes the open guard of Helio Gracie with a Toriando-type pass. Gets the side, traps the shoulder, immediately goes for shoulder lock, pins Helio Gracie, isolating the hips, preventing him from rolling away and giving his back by trapping that arm. Uses that to pin with the Kezakatami scarf hold, going for a can opener. Helio Gracie tries to recover, is unable to. Notice his right hand is checking that hip. He starts transitioning into mount. Cannot get mount, throws the left hook, turns to try to get the back. Helio stops rolling, and Kimura is able to isolate, jumps for a rolling Kimura trap with that shoulder lock, is able to apply the shoulder lock pressure. Helio Gracie doesn't tap, so he goes and traps the shoulder further, probably tries to attempt a choke, is not able to finish, continues to work on his pin, and trying to isolate the arm once more. He's able to trap the far side shoulder with that reverse triangle and finish with the traditional shoulder lock. This is where we get the name Kimura. Kimura is the winner. And this is the same video, guys, just looping again. So I just wanted to do a quick breakdown. This took place on October 23rd, 1951. They say that after this match, Helio Gracie honored Kimura by naming the shoulder lock the Kimura. So that's where we get the shoulder lock name of the Kimura, named after this famous fight between two legends. I think it's important to note how important these both individuals are to the sport and art of where jiu-jitsu is now. Of course, a lot of things have changed since then, but if you notice, a lot of things have not changed. Even in the style of how he's able to nullify and use his stand-up to get into close proximity, and then he immediately able to pass the open guard and then just control Master Helio Gracie with just traditional jiu-jitsu pins. He was really able to utilize his jiu-jitsu and judo, because at the time it was basically the same thing. It was a historical match. It was in Brazil. He flew all the way down from Japan to Brazil. He said that he was able to subdue Helio Gracie, but that Helio Gracie was tough, had a fighter's champion. They say after the match, Kimura invited Helio Gracie to cross-train, and Helio Gracie took that invitation, and they began to cross-train, and he learned from him. But this is a typical traditional match between the old school traditional Japanese judo and where Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu was headed. Hope you guys enjoyed this breakdown. Stay tuned for more commentary after this. So there you go, guys. Simple, traditional match, but pretty epic between two legends. Helio Gracie versus Kimura in Brazil. This was a really good point in history in terms of where we get our art of jiu-jitsu, how it's, like I mentioned in the video, has been both traditional and a part of evolution in the art. You see a lot of the same things now. If you look at the video and pay close attention, transitions, especially when a throw is utilized into a guard pass, into a scramble, into a submission, you get to see that. But you also get to see it change and evolve into other things as well. So wanted to do this breakdown. I really enjoy the historical context of this. Like I said, there's so much more to go over, but this is just kind of scratching the surface. We've always done breakdowns of MMA fights, but you can't really call yourself an MMA fan if you don't understand where mixed martial arts comes from and where the foundations lie. And you can't even call yourself a martial artist or a fan of martial arts if you don't know about this historical fight. So pretty simple, short and sweet. A few little things in the video that you were able to see. Those of you that grapple completely understand the movements. Those of you that don't, I invite you to study and learn what's part of that, of the jiu-jitsu art. Some little footnotes, Kimura, there are rumors, and there's a lot of historians that they have different versions of this and different perspectives. So we just have to be careful how we interpret this historical context. For example, Kimura was bigger than Helio Gracie, but not by a whole lot. It's rumored that Helio Gracie wasn't athletic. He was pretty athletic in a lot of his tournaments, especially for the things he was doing. So don't count him out. He was actually pretty athletic for someone at 5'9". Other things were Kimura thought that the mats in traditional judo and jiu-jitsu, the mats weren't as forgiving as the mats they had in Brazil. So he thought that when he threw him, the match would have been over, because usually a person would, take their air out or have a mild concussion, or if not, just really not want to continue because it's rough on the body. So there's a lot of things to look at. Some historians and some people will say different versions of the story. I'm going to say this version of the story. This is from what I gathered from simple articles that I've read. Nothing crazy. This isn't like a scholarly video or anything, but it definitely sheds some light in really understanding, and if not lifting, but really putting both Helio Gracie and Kimura in the pedestal where they belong, because this was a significant fight, and this was important for both the Japanese Jiu-Jitsu judo community and the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu community that was thriving in Brazil and in Japan at the time. And I think ever since this match, you saw it continue to take off slowly and steadily, and you now see it where it's at, right? This led to the evolution of Jiu-Jitsu in Brazil, the migration from the Japanese migration to Brazil, all the way from the Brazilian migration to the United States, from the foundation of the UFC in 1993 by Helio's son, who created the UFC. If you don't know that, we'll do another video on that. But basically started the UFC and then created, it used to be no rules, or rather limited rule set, which was kind of crazy, no time limit. And it was a tournament style, so you advanced the same day. Of course, Jiu-Jitsu was always winning and doing well on that. And then after that, fighters recognized the importance of Jiu-Jitsu and started incorporating that into training. And then you have now modern MMA fighters that have to take a minimum of at least a few months, if not years of Jiu-Jitsu. So it definitely is a great match and is historical significantly because of where it laid out and where it played out. So If you did not know about this match, I hope you enjoyed the video. Look for more of these. I'm gonna post some more, and tell me in the comments if you like this. I really enjoy the historical part of this. I don't think we kind of dive into it as whole much, but a lot of the names and traditions are still part of the Japanese culture. So for example, jiu-jitsu is a Japanese name, which means gentle art. If you train jiu-jitsu, you know it can be gentle sometimes. The idea of wearing gis comes from Japanese culture, common sense, right? It's what they used. The tying of belts as well, the bowing before matches, after matches, before class begins, after class ends. Some of the names, Senkaku, Ashigurami, Kezukatami, Osotogari, which you saw in the video. These are traditional techniques that you use that are terms in Japanese. And so there's a lot of tradition. And I think these two athletes, these two martial artists, paved the way for both the Japanese and the Brazilian community, and now even the world, because now you see jiu-jitsu everywhere. So I think it's important to really honor this fight and just be educated about it. So that's kind of what I wanted to do, is use the same idea of how we break down roles and MMA matches, and be able to break them down for these historical legends. So leave in the comment section if you like it, if you didn't like it, ideas, but I'm definitely looking forward to doing more of these. Hope you guys enjoyed this.